Welcome to the second episode. This is Rumpole and the Alternative Society. This is where our Old Bailey hack gets concerned with and involved in a case about the hippie generation, the hippie, druggy, flower power generation, which I got involved in the 60s, and where he falls perhaps a little more than half in love with the beautiful girl who is on trial for having to deal with dope. But it's also an episode in which I deal with the question which lawyers are always asked, which is, how do you defend someone you know to be guilty? And of course the answer is you can't go on defending someone you know to be guilty if they tell you they're guilty, and the consequences of that is the rather sad ending to the half-love affair in Rumpole and the Alternative Society.
Hey, no, man. Thanks, Bill. Hello. What's your name? Hey, man. Hey, you want a cat? There you go. Peace and love. Go!
What have we got there, then?
About 3 years, I reckon, for the girl.
What's funny about that, Sergeant?
You know what I said, sir? I said, cool it, man. You're in no trouble with the fuzz. I reckon she believed me.
Let's get you back to the station and cleaned up. Don't exactly hold with having my men in beads.
You don't see many cows nowadays. Well, not down the Old Bailey. You need a nice possession of dangerous drugs to bring you out on the Western Circuit before you can get a glimpse of a cow. Ah, circuit life. I don't get enough of it these days. Circuit is freedom. You escape from the Old Bailey, you escape from your clerk, you escape from the lady wife, she who must be obeyed, and you relax in the restaurant car, watching the cows flash past, and you settle down to a real old-fashioned railway lunch. A touch of brown Windsor soup, rapidly followed by poached turbot, cabinet pudding, mousetrap, cream crackers and celery. Wash down with a vintage bottle of Chateau Great Western as you charge past Dick.
Yes, sir.
Ah, waiter. Some brown Windsor soup, I imagine, to start with.
We're only doing the grapefruit segments and the grilled platter.
Grilled what?
Fried egg and French burger served with chips and a nice tomato.
A nice tomato, yes. Very well. And to drink? A reasonable railway claret?
No wines on this journey, sir. We got gin in miniatures.
Gin in miniatures? No. Oh, dear. The circuit isn't what it was. Now then, let's see. First course for coloured royals. 5-7. Question mark. Brown Windsor. Lovely day.
Mr. Horace Rumpole.
Yes.
You're Rumpole.
Yes.
I'm Friendly.
Thank God somebody is.
I was warned you liked your little joke, Mr. Of course, we don't do much crying at Friendly Sanderson and Friendly. We're mainly conveyancing. Oh, by the way, you'll find a couple of typing errors in the instructions to counsel.
If you're not friendly, I never read the instructions to counsel. I find they blur the issues and confuse the mind.
You'll want to see the client, then?
Oh, as you might expect it.
You're going to Nirvana?
Aren't we all eventually? No, friendly, I shall steer clear of the lotus eaters of 34 Balaclava Road. Land, I imagine, where it seemed always afternoon. I'll bring the client round for a conference at my hotel after dinner, about 9 o'clock. That suit you?
Yes.
Ah,
You'll be at the George.
thank you. Where?
That's where the bar put up.
Oh, is it? Then I shall avoid it. No, I'm staying with some old mates from my rap days. They run a stately pleasure dome called the Crooked Billet.
That little pub place out on the bay.
Out on the bay, indeed. With no sound but the soft summer rain and the muted love call of the lobster. You know what I say, friendly? When you've got a nice bit of crime by the sea, relax and enjoy it. Calling all air crew, calling all air crew. Parade immediately. Rumpole is here.
Oh, you old devil.
You look beautiful.
Liar. I've your special rum ready for you.
Good.
Would you like a drink now?
Why ever not? Takes me straight back to the Naffy Hop. You remember, New Year's Eve, 1943. Sam was off bombing something. I had you all to myself for 2 whole hours of the Bumps of Daisy. Oh, not to mention the Lambeth Walk. Here's to the good old Duke.
The
Duke! Ah. Oh, thanks.
You never took advantage.
Something I shall regret. Until the day I coughed myself into extinction. Well, where's Sam? How is he? How is ex-Flight Lieutenant Three Fingers, Doctor?
Bloody doctor.
Doctor?
Ah, Dr. Mackay. He tells me with a face like an undertaker, your husband's got to get out of the licensing trade or he'll not last another year.
Oh.
Get him into some small bungalow, he says, and on to soft drinks. Can you imagine Sam in a bungalow?
Or on soft drinks. The mind boggles.
Oh, he says, you find lime juice and soda has a pleasant little kick to it.
The kick of a mouse in carpet slippers, I should imagine.
I told the quack. Sam's not scared. He used to go out every night to get himself killed. He still misses the war dreadfully.
Yes, I expect he does.
Saturday night in the crooked billet and a bloody good piss-up. It's the nearest he gets the old days in a rough.
You wonder what she doesn't rush out one night and bomb Torquay.
Well, you're not joking. The point is... Should I tell him?
Well, won't you, Dr. Mackay, tell him?
Oh, you know Sam won't see hide nor hair of the doctor. So what shall I do?
Now, why ask me, love?
Well, you're the bloody lawyer, darling. You're meant to know everything.
Hey, what the hell's going on? We're not open yet.
Sam! Sam, can't you see who it is?
What?
Ta-da!
My God! It's old grounded Rumpole!
Sam!
Rumpole of the Opera. Well, what the hell are you doing in this neck of the woods?
He wrote us a letter.
Oh, I never read letters. Well, here's to the good old Duke.
The Duke?
Yeah, you're on holiday, are you?
Well, a sort of working holiday. I'm here on behalf of a lady. A damsel, you might say, in bloody great distress.
Oh, yeah. Not still after Bobby, are you?
Oh, of course, till the day I die. Bobby's hardly in distress.
Aren't I?
The lady in question's a certain Miss Cathy Trelawney. Well, you must have read about her. One of the Lotus Eaters of Nirvana, 34 Balaclava Road. She was done for possession of a suitcase full of cannabis resin.
I know, yeah, but what, are you defending her?
Against your crafty country constabulary, yes. Did she come in here?
Not bloody likely. That lot wouldn't get past the door. Anyway, they don't drink.
Good God, is there no end to their decadence? But do you know her?
Oh, I never clapped eyes on her, thank God. No doubt she's about as glamorous as an unmade bed.
Oh, no doubt at all.
But how can you defend that creature?
Easy. Prop myself up on feet in court and do my best.
You know damn well she's guilty.
There you're wrong, Sam. I don't know anything of the kind.
Oh, pull the other one.
I don't know. And if she is, and she tells me she is, I'll have to make a surrender and plead guilty. We do have a few rules, old sweetheart. We don't deceive courts. Not on purpose.
You mean you think she's innocent?
He's just told you, Sam. They have rules about it.
At the moment, I think she's the victim of a set-up. A trick by the police.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what I'll go on thinking until she tells me otherwise.
Well, that's ridiculous. The police don't trick people. Well, not in England.
Have you never had a plainclothes man come in here and ask for a large scotch after closing time?
Oh, yes, the bastards. But that's entirely different.
Oh, yes, entirely different.
Anyway, who's paying you to defend Miss Slagheap? That's what I'd like to know.
Fasten your seatbelt, old darling. You are.
What?
Miss Cathy Trelawney is on legal aid. And I am here by courtesy of the ratepayers of Coal Sands. Thank you for your hospitality.
Bloody hell. What the hell do you want a lawyer for?
I'll just meet him, Dave. There's no harm in meeting him.
All you're going to do is stand up in court and tell the whole world about Pete. You haven't forgotten where Pete is tonight, have you?
No, Dave. I haven't forgotten.
Oh, good evening, Mr. Ryan.
Good evening, Mr. Francis.
You ready?
Yes.
Oh, by the way, Mr. Larney, when we're with counsel, I think you'd best confine yourself to answering his questions. Just answer Mr. Rumpole's questions,
Why? What are you afraid I might say?
We don't know, Mr. Larney. I really don't know at all.
Cool it, man. You're in no trouble with the fuzz. Oh, dear me. Just from the way the old darling talked, didn't you twig that he was from the local drug squad?
Well, my client has never come up against the police before.
Ah, no, of course, that explains it. Well, nowadays, coppers are issued with beads as well as the Book of Burbles and the size 11 boots. We'll have some fun with this case.
Oh? What sort of fun?
The plan is, friendly old friendly, a preliminary point. There's evidence of temporary acting Detective Sergeant Jack Smedley, alias Jack the Hippie. In the absence of the jury, we will ask the judge to rule the whole of this evidence inadmissible.
Really? On what grounds?
On the grounds it was obtained contrary to natural justice, in that it constituted a trick, that it is the testimony of an agent provocateur.
Oh, well, we don't get many of those in conveyancing.
Nasty foreign expression for nasty foreign things. Spies and infiltrators. Policemen in disguise who worm their way into an Englishman's home in order to trap him into crime. Bloody un-British, like B-days. And eating your pud after your cheese. Now, your average circuit judge, circus judge as we call him down the Bailey.
Oh, it's His Honour James Crispin Rice tomorrow.
Old Rice Krispies. Know him well. Product of the Navy and a minor public school. Had it firmly instilled into him in the fourth. Never trust a sneak.
So he might rule out the evidence.
If we can implant a strong dislike of Sergeant Smedley into the old darling, yes, why not? Disgusting behaviour, Your Honour. The police are there to detect crime, not to manufacture it. What is this country coming to? Constables tricked out in beads, singing to a small guitar, calling an innocent girl into making huge collections of cannabis resin from some pusher she met at a dance at the local tech. She would never have done it if the policeman hadn't asked her. Withdraw the evidence from the jury, Your Honour. The whole thing is a vile outrage on our age-old liberties. It is not to be thought of that the flood of British freedom which to the open sea of the world's praise through dark antiquity hath flowed from pomp of waters and withstood should perish. We must be free or die.
Who speak the tongue
That
Shakespeare spake.
You know it.
A little.
I didn't think anyone knew him nowadays. Whenever I come out with him in the bar mess, they look bemused, to say the least. It's most unusual a client knowing Wordsworth.
I teach.
What?
I teach kids English.
Ah, yes, of course you do.
There is one thing I wanted to ask you.
Well, we mustn't keep Mr. Rumpole any longer.
Ask, Mr. Rumpole.
What do you want me to say exactly?
Say nothing. Keep the mouth firmly closed. Rely on Rumpole with a little help from Wordsworth. Now then, can I buy you a drink?
I'm afraid my wife will be expecting me.
Ah, yes, friendly. Well, yes, mustn't keep the wife waiting. Thank you very much. Mr. Lawney, or will they be waiting for you in the bar?
No, I have one. Thank you.
Where did you hear this popsy rumper? You shouldn't be with a grand Sarpedere. You're definitely air crew material. What's it to be?
I have a coke, please. I don't drink, really.
Oh, don't you? You don't drink? Nothing else you don't do, is there?
Quite a lot of things, actually.
Do you remember, Rumper, we used to divide the popsies into beer wafts and gin wafts? Now, in my opinion, you're a large pink gin.
She told you, Sam, she doesn't drink.
Oh, Rumpo. You pick up this beautiful bit of crackling in a bloody Baptist chapel. Take no notice of him, will you? You can be teetotal with Rumpo, but let's launch our friendship on a sea of sparkling shampoo.
I'd probably sink.
Oh, not with me, you wouldn't. Let me introduce myself. Flight Lieutenant Three Fingers Lockerty. 3 fingers refers to the measure of my whiskey. My hands are imperfect.
I haven't met many flight lieutenants.
Well, you met me, but yeah. One of the glamour boys, one of the Brill Cream Brigade, one of the very, very few. And if I had a crate available, I'd bloody well take you up to the sky for a couple of victory rolls. Yeah. And you see him, round star, Rumper, we leave him far below us, rounding.
I don't think we should do that.
Why will not?
I think I'm going to need him.
Need Rumpo? What do we want to need Rumpo for? No. What did you say your name was?
I didn't.
Oh, I'm sorry, I should have introduced you. This is Miss Kathy Trelawney from Nirvana, 34 Balaclava Road. Yes, I made bed over.
Oh, bloody wonder you don't drink.
It's just something I don't like doing.
Oh, naturally, you won't have a pink tin like a normal girl. Excuse me. Hi, drink up, please. Hi.
Was that meant to be a joke? All that flight lieutenant business?
No joke at all. Sam was a great bomber pilot. He could find any target you care to mention in pitch darkness on 3 fingers of whiskey. He was good, Sam. Very good.
You mean good at killing people?
Well, I suppose that is what I mean.
Is that his wife?
Yes, that's Bobby. I used to think she was gorgeous.
She doesn't look very happy.
Of course, that was in wartime. Things were a bit utility then. But the children seem to have grown up beautifully. Must be all that orange juice.
Or the peace.
Sidearm, please!
Does that mean me?
I'm rather afraid it does. Come on, I'll walk you to the bus.
So peaceful.
It is a beauteous evening, calm and free. The holy time is quiet as a nun, breathless with adoration.
We read poetry at the house.
Do you?
It's a good way to end the day. Somebody reads something. Anything. They won't lock me up, will they?
I told you. We'll have the evidence thrown out. Put your trust in Rumpole.
My brother Pete's locked up. In Turkey. He got 12 years. I can't bear to think about it. He was always such a scared kid. He couldn't sleep with the door shut. Neither of us could. Will it be over soon?
It'll be over.
That's my bus. Why don't you come and see me sometime in Nirvana?
Why ever not? In Nirvana. See you in court tomorrow. She's a remarkable girl. She actually knows her words well. Ah, thanks, love. Well, in a way, you've got to admire her.
Yes, I could see you had to.
So few people actually choose a way of life.
Well, you did, Rumpole.
Eh?
You chose Hilda.
Ah, the lady wife, yes. She who must be obeyed. I had no choice in the matter at all. I was called up to marriage like military service. Her father was head of chambers. He gave me to understand what was expected of me.
Well, you've been together so long, and your son.
Did you know Nick was in Oxford?
No.
Yes. He's the bright one of the family. Yeah, so Hilda and I left looking at each other like a couple of strangers forced to share the same sleeper on some endless railway journey. Me and she who
must be obeyed.
You know, if I had ever exercised a free and independent choice...
What?
I would have said something to you at that hop.
New Year's Eve at the Naffy?
Well, I did it myself for 2 whole hours. Sam was off on a round trip to Dusseldorf. Plenty of time to come to some sort of decision.
You never said a word.
No. Well, perhaps I took it for granted. You were never meant for the lowly ground staff. Well, that's a mistake I shan't ever make again. Well, if you don't say anything, nobody ever knows.
You're smelling rather lovely today.
Oh, it's some new aftershave. Saw it in the chemist. I went for a stroll before breakfast. It's my way of a celebration.
Celebrating what?
Holiday. And a case with all sorts of possibilities. Ah, the Lotus Eaters are in force. Clean jeans, statutory baby. Let's hope they don't mistake the whole thing for a bit of fun round the South African embassy.
Morning! You must be Rumpole.
What have we here? Gentleman farmer, gentleman barrister.
Welcome to the Western Circuit.
Probably got job for boots on under the pinstripe.
Took, Vernon Took's my name. I'm prosecuting you.
Awfully decent of you.
I say, Rumpole, where'd you get that shower from? Rent a hippie. What a life, eh? Gangbangs on the National Assistance.
Do I detect in Farmer Tuke's voice a note of
Used to be a
envy?
decent area, Balaclava Road, till that lot got their foot in the door. What, squatters, are they?
They've got a 9-year lease on the house, and they've all got jobs. No, the only fellas scrounging off the state, Tuke, are you and I.
Really, Rumpole?
Well, they are paying on the rates, aren't they?
Oh, most amusing. I say, Rumpole, is this going to take long? It's the Coal Sands Gymkhana tomorrow. We tend to make it rather a day out.
Long, no, I shouldn't think so. It's quite a nice point of law.
Point of law, Rumpole?
Oh, you do have law down here on the Western Circuit, I take it?
You a lawyer?
This is Dave.
Oh, yes.
Dave Hawkins, a friend of mine.
Will Kathy be going in today?
In?
Into the witness box. There's something I wanted to say, and it's very important.
Dave, do you mind if I call you Mr. Hawkins? If I were a surgeon, old darling, taking out your appendix, you wouldn't want Kathy here telling me where to put the knife, now would you?
Catherine Trelawney?
Yes. You better answer to her.
Will they lock me up now?
Of course not, trust me.
Trelawney?
Yes.
We can come in, can't we?
Of course you can, Mr. Hawkins, provided you leave the work to me.
Beads. What beads were those?
I was wearing beads, Your Honour, on the occasions of my visits to 34 Balaclava Road.
Beads? With the uniform?
Not with the uniform, Your Honour. With the embroidered jeans and the woven headband, the purple silk drapery knotted round the neck. Oh, not forgetting the Afghan goat coat.
I was in plain clothes, Your Honour.
Plain clothes, Sergeant. You were in fancy dress. Would you mind telling the court what's happened to your gaucho moustache?
I shaved it off.
Oh, why?
In view of certain comments, Your Honour, passed in the station. It wasn't a gaucho, it was more of Viva Zapata, actually.
Silence! Viva? What was that, Mr. Rumpole?
The officer was affecting the moustache, Your Honour, of a well-known South American revolutionary.
South American? Well, can you tell me, officer, what is the purpose of this elaborate disguise?
May I suggest an answer, Sergeant? You took it into your head to pose as a drug dealer in order to trap this quite innocent young woman into taking part in a filthy trade she wouldn't otherwise have dreamt of.
She wasn't so innocent.
Oh, indeed. What led you to suppose that?
Her way of life, Your Honour.
Yes, what I want you to tell me, officer, is this. Did you have any reason to believe that this young woman was dealing in drugs before you went there in your Viva... What?
Zapata, Your Honour.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Rumpole. Much obliged.
We had received certain information.
Well, will you let us in on the secret, Sergeant? What was this information?
That Miss Trelawney was the type to get involved.
Involved by you?
Involved already.
I shall be calling the evidence, Your Honour, of the neighbour, Miss Tigwell. Very well, Mr. Tuke.
Do try and sit quietly, Tuke. But if the evidence shows no previous attempt to deal in drugs, you would have to agree that this whole crime is a result of your fertile imagination.
Doesn't it rather depend, Mr. Rumpole, on the effect of the evidence of Miss Tigwell when we hear it?
If Your Honour pleases. Of course, as always, Your Honour is perfectly right. Thank you, Sergeant.
Miss Tigwell? Is there all you're going to ask?
Oh, do you want to have a go? Do bother the wig, old darling.
Will you please keep that baby quiet? This is a court of law, madam.
I'm sorry. The baby didn't know.
I could tell exactly what they were.
And what were they exactly, Miss Tigwell?
Perverted.
Really?
All living higgledy-piggledy, men and women, black and white.
Did your observation include the bedrooms?
Well, no. But they all sat together in the front room.
Sat together? What did they talk about?
Oh, I couldn't hear that.
They were a community, that's all it comes to. They might well have been Trappist monks, for all you knew.
I don't know if Mr. Rumpole is suggesting that his client is a Trappist monk.
Just sit quietly, Tuke. Leave the jokes to me, old darling. Now, Miss Tigwell, apart from the fact that people of different sexes sat together, did you ever observe anything suspicious from your post in the Crow's Nest?
I saw a man giving her money. Quite a lot of it. It was in £10 notes.
Was this the first time you had ever seen money change hands, or indeed any sort of dealing going on in Nirvana?
The first time, yes.
Now, will you just describe to His Honour the man you saw passing this money?
Dreadful-looking person. A clear criminal type. He looked as if he'd been dragged through a hedge backwards.
Long hair?
Oh, yes, and a revolting sort of moustache.
Beads, embroidered jeans, Afghan goat fur, and a purple silk fancy round the neck.
Disgusting. I saw it all quite distinctly.
Thank you, Miss Digwell. You've now given us a perfectly accurate description of Detective Sergeant Smedley of the local force.
Well, Mr. Rumpole is just after 4 o'clock. Would that be a convenient moment?
If Your Honour pleases.
Will you be much longer with Miss Tigwell?
I think I've finished with Miss Tigwell, Your Honour.
Yes, Mr. Rumpole, I think you have.
The upstanding in court.
Rumpole?
Ah, Duke, I've got good news for you. Looks as though we'll be finished in time for your gymkhana tomorrow. Got a daughter in the potato race, have you?
Do you think the judge is a guinea?
Oh, not you personally. But I know what he's thinking.
Oh, do you?
Well, you give an officer like that his head. Next thing you know, he'll be in a frock on the prom, soliciting the chairman of the bench.
I suppose that sort of thing is wanting.
Not English, if you ask me.
Oh, Rumpole.
Duke!
What are you doing tonight? I mean, there'll be a few of us dining at the Bar Hotel with the leader of the circuit.
Ah, roast lamb, sea shanties, and old jokes from quarter sessions. Not tonight, Duke.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. We like to give our visitors a little hospitality.
Tonight, I'm dropping out. You surprised me.
You surprised us, actually.
I thought it best, nut cutlets and carrot juice.
Kathy, best you be someone for steak and kidney pud.
Kathy has the most extraordinary understanding of the most important things in life. And really a very drinkable wine.
Actually, I'm the wine freak.
Ah, the sommelier of Nirvana.
Do you think I'll be in the witness box tomorrow?
If this argument succeeds, you won't be in the witness box ever.
I'm not sure I agree with that.
Well, I'm not sure you have to.
This is our big chance to get through to them.
Them? Who?
Well, to the law. That's what we've got you for, to put our point of view across.
You got me to get you out of trouble, old darling. That's what you've got me for. I'm not going to get up in court tomorrow and teach the judge to sing protest songs.
You're just not taking this case seriously.
Oh, yes, I am. I tell you, I am seriously determined to keep Kathy out of prison.
Thank you.
And I'll tell you something else.
What?
I would rather live at 34 Balaclava Road than flat 38 Roxbury Mansions with she who must be obeyed. That's Mrs. Rumpole. I'd rather relax on your Indian scatter cushions and listen to flute music from the Andes than drag myself out of bed on a wet Monday morning down to the Old Bailey to defend some overexcited youth accused of raping his social worker. I swear to you. No, I swear to Almighty God. For 2 pins. For a box of small cigars, I'd give up the law. I'd spend the rest of my life in a pair of plimsolls and old grey flannel bags, shrimping on the beach at Gold Sands. When this is over, Kathy, when your little trouble is over, why don't we drop out together?
All right.
Meanwhile, back in court, Kathy is on trial.
Don't let's talk about court anymore. Why don't we read something?
Got a bit of poetry?
It goes down well with a claret.
No, you read it.
Me?
Yes, you like this. You read it.
Oh, do I?
Usually have a poem before we go to bed.
Well, then, let's have a look. It is a beauteous evening, calm and free. The holy time is quiet as a nun, breathless with adoration. The broad sun is sinking down in its tranquility. The gentleness of heaven is on the sea. Listen, the mighty being is awake, and doth with his eternal motion make a sound like thunder, everlastingly. Dear child, dear girl that walkest with me here, If thou appearest untouched by solemn thought, thy nature is not therefore less divine. Thou liest in Abram's bosom all the year, and worshipst at the temple's inner shrine, God being with thee, when we know it not.
The officer was only doing his duty, acted, Your Honour, in the pursuit of crime.
Or in the manufacture of a crime. That's what troubles me.
I see Your Honour's trouble.
He is, Duke. He really is.
If I thought this young woman only collected drugs, only got in touch with any sort of supplier because of the trap set for her, then would you concede, Mr. Duke, I should have to reject the evidence?
I think Your Honour would.
Of course he would, Duke. You are a lovely prosecutor.
And as you would have to concede that there is no other evidence against her, that would be the end of the matter.
The end of the matter? Yes, Your Honour.
The end of the matter, Duke. Well, we'll hear what Mr. Rumpole has to say after lunch.
The upstanding in court.
I may have to rise a little earlier today. Public duty.
Another fond father whose daughter is in father.
Mr. Rumpole?
Yes.
The client wishes to see you. It's a matter of urgency.
We want to tell the truth.
What truth?
It's the only way we can get Peter's case across.
Peter?
My brother, I told you.
He was busted.
Yes, I remember, in Turkey. Well, this isn't Turkey. And it's not Peter's case or anyone else's. It's yours.
Kathy wants you to know why she did it.
Shut up. Conference is over. Better get a bite of lunch. Come on, friendly.
But it does appear we have no instructions, Mr. Rumpole.
Has she told you what they are?
Not yet, but I was just
Then
going
don't.
to.
The old ones are doing very nicely, thank you. When it's all over, you can tell me what you like.
I got the stuff last year in Istanbul after Pete got busted. I was going to sell it anyway. It was going to cost £10,000 to get him out. In lawyers' fees and bribes, I suppose. He got 12 years. We've got to get people to care about Pete.
Mr. Ronnie, are these your new instructions?
Yes.
Sit down, please. Now then, you already had this stuff before Detective Sergeant Smedley first came to Nirvana.
Long before.
Let her tell me. You didn't get it in answer to his call.
I told you. I was just looking for a buyer so I could help Pete.
Let's see, isn't there a 2:20 back to London? Get me a taxi, would you, friendly, for God's sake?
Well, what are you going to do, Mr. Rumpole?
I'm retiring from this case.
Running out on us.
Why?
Get me a taxi, there's a good chap.
Why?
I'll try and explain to you. It's a question of religion, you see. A barrister's religion. An article of faith. My whole existence is bound by a small blue volume handed down like the tablets of Moses.
What the hell's he talking
It is called Etiquette of the Bar. Now, barristers down the ages have killed, they have certainly committed adultery, and for all I know, they may well have worshipped graven images, but I do not believe that any one of them ever went on to fight a case after his client has told him in clear, crystal ringing tones that he actually did the deed.
You mean you won't help me?
I can't help you.
Look, everywhere in the world, people are persecuted by archaic law. Kathy wants to make a stand. The pot law is ridiculous.
It is my duty to preside over your acquittal, not your martyrdom to some dubious cause of intoxication.
Enjoy your bottle of wine last night, did you?
Yes, I take your point, Mr. Hawkins, but I do not make the laws.
And you don't want them changed.
I'll tell the judge I can't act for you any longer for personal reasons.
That old fool, I think you fancy her.
You'll get another barrister. What you tell him is your business.
What's the matter? Afraid to stick your neck out? Or would you starve to death if they made pot legal?
Leave us alone a minute, Dave. I want to talk to him.
Well, you heard what she said, Mr. Hawkins. Oh, tell the unhappy friendly to hang on to that taxi for me, would you?
I never thought you'd run out on me.
You've run out on me. You've robbed me of my defense. All I can advise you now is to plead guilty.
I don't suppose you could forget that. What I just told you.
Of course I can forget it. I'd like nothing better than to forget it. I'd forget it at once if I wasn't a bloody barrister.
And there's nothing more important than that in your life. Being a barrister.
No.
Well, what was all that then about poetry?
Ah, Wordsworth, silly old sheep. Drives me mad sometimes, but I forgive him.
I don't believe poetry means a damn thing to you. Friendship doesn't mean anything. You're just an old man with a heart full of a book about legal etiquette.
You're saying just what I have long suspected.
Well, why don't you do something about it then?
What would you suggest?
I might leave Coal Sands. Come up to London, do a language course. I want to get away. I thought, well, we could have lunch sometimes. When you're at the Old Bailey.
Ah, every man has his price. Is that mine? The occasional lunch at the Old Bailey.
Not enough.
Oh, yes. Yes, more than enough. Something to think about on the long, cold nights in Froxbury Mansions.
I'm not going to prison. You won't let them send me to prison.
I can talk to the judge for you. He might agree to a suspended sentence. I don't know. But I can talk to him.
That's right, he likes you. Go and see him. Please go and see him.
You know what it means if I speak to the judge for you?
I plead guilty.
Good. I'll do my best. We have one trump card. You darlings 18 to get away to the Gymkhana.
We had a good evening. You should have been with us, Rumpole. Didn't we have a splendid evening, Vernon?
The leader gave us the floral dance.
Oh, old Pascal's wonderful for 75. He entertained us in song. You would have enjoyed it, Rumpole.
Oh, splendid evening. We fined little Morton a dozen bottles of claret for talking shop at dinner.
Yeah, we then proceeded to punish the penalty. How many bottles were left?
Oh, none, Judge, so far as I remember.
Judge, I was wondering, at the risk of being fined for talking shop, if I could persuade my client to plead guilty, I thought you might be grateful for a short afternoon. She's a remarkable girl.
So I can see.
She knows a great deal about Wordsworth.
Wordsworth? Is he a mitigating factor?
Well, he certainly can't afford to lose admirers.
No. Well, she'll get the full benefit of pleading guilty.
You can't tell me any more than that?
There are rules.
I thought you might indicate...
the tariff. You know the tariff. How much was it? 20 pounds weight? A fair wallop.
Oh, it was cannabis, only cannabis.
If it was broken biscuits, I shouldn't have had the pleasure of your company.
They use it just like whiskey. It doesn't occur to them.
Yes, but it isn't whiskey, is it? It's a Class B drug, as defined by the Dangerous Drugs Act.
And what do we know about it?
That is illegal. Isn't that all we need to know? Oh, my God, Rumpole. We're not going to see you turning up in court in beads.
She's got a good character.
You know about a good character. Everyone had a good character once. I mean, if you're going to let everybody out because of their good character, no one would ever go inside.
That would be a scandal. All those empty prisons.
I say, Rumpole, you're not getting involved in this case, are you?
Involved? No, of course not. No, naturally.
More coffee. Thank you.
I thought perhaps a suspended sentence.
Rumpole, you got your job to do, and I've got mine.
Trelawney, you have been convicted of crime. Have you anything to say before sentence is passed on you?
I have listened to every word said on your behalf by learned counsel. If you had wanted to help your brother, you should have gone to the Foreign Office authorities or the Red Cross. It is no help to him or to yourself to engage in serious crime. Whatever you may read in the newspapers, this is vile stuff, a Class B drug, rightly forbidden by Act of Parliament. You will go to prison for 3 years. Take her down.
Ended nice and quickly.
Yes, Duke, very quickly.
Going back to London?
Tomorrow. I'm going back tomorrow.
An attractive sort of girl, your client.
Yes.
All the same. To prison she had to go.
Seems a shame, sir. A girl like that. It's an evil place, Holloway.
And this fellow said to this girl he met at the dance, he said, I'm only here for the weekend. And she said, all right, I'm dancing as fast as I can.
Look at Sam, he's as happy as a tick.
I had the same flavor.
Yes, Sam's happy.
Anyway, who's got an empty glass? Come on.
What does he want with a slow death on lime juice in a bungalow? I've made up my mind. I'm not going to tell him. Are you in favour of that?
People not telling people things. People not scattering information like bombs. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I'm all in favour of that.
Rumpo in the grand stop. Here's to the good old Duke.
Here's to the good old Duke.
Here's to the good old Hang on.